Cast Off Crew. It's me, Margaret, and I am sitting outside today. It's like 69 degrees out here. Quite a change from last weekend, but that's pretty much our Mississippi weather. You never know what you're going to get. So let's talk about what I've been working on crochet-wise this week. And everything's been small, quick and easy. And the first thing that I wanted was, I have a lot of these eco cups. This one happens to have a model of the caffeine molecule on it. The whole purpose of this silicone band is to keep your hands from burning. And you can crochet those. There's patterns for these all over the place for those. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted like a sweater for my cup. So I made this. Now, two things to keep in mind. I think it was Sharon who had done a cup holder one time, a cup cover, and she said the thing that she would do differently would be to leave more space up here because of the drip factor. You know, you don't want to have your mouth on wool or cotton, as the case may be. But anyway, I took a pattern that was more along the lines of this shape and just elongated it. It was a Martha Stewart. Is that Lion Brand yarn, I think? I'll put the link, of course, in the website. I did not, however, it was a seamed pattern, and I did not do the seam. I just kept going and went in the round so that you would get a nice smooth effect as you went around there. So these worked well, and I will probably do some more. Can you see that it has spaces, though? I did a single crochet. I think I may try this again with a little bigger hook so that it has more stretch and less space, because it's a little tight, you know, on here, and that might give me even more warmth. And I also noticed that a new stitch today had something called a thermal stitch that looked very similar to long underwear, you know, thermal underwear. It looked a lot like that, and that may be even better. I don't know, I'll have to investigate that. But I'll be doing some more of these. Okay, and then another thing I've been busy working on is headbands. Got quite the selection of headbands going on here. Now, this is a pattern by Bobwilson123 that has the ponytail holders on it to make them nice and stretchy on the back. So I was deciding, I know I wanted to make some of these headbands because I really haven't had good luck making some of the headbands in the past. They don't stretch enough to suit me. I want them to feel tight on my head, but go on and off easily. So this ponytail version of Bobwilson123 was the solution for me. And so I thought, oh, okay, well, you know, she had basically done just a back and forth double crochet similar to this one. Hers was a little wider, and I did the first one, and I thought, oh, well, isn't that great? I want to do another pattern now. Well, Zoe, who is Crochet Addict UK on YouTube, is a Basketweave fiend. She's got some great Basketweave stitches. Can you see that one there? And this one? And so she had recommended, I think it was Teresa, Crochet Geeks. Well, that's what I used because I thought that's what Zoe had recommended, to learn the basic basket weave stitch. I know that Mikey Smale has another tutorial on that. So I quickly looked at that and put that together. So these these two headbands right here are a combination of Bob Wilson, Teresa Crochet Geek, and Chloe Crochet Addict UK inspiration. So yeah, I really liked it. Use different. This one has a much thinner yarn than this. This is Simply Soft, Karen Simply Soft. And then for the other two on the outside here, these stitches, I referred to some books that I have. Now, way back in my second cast off video, I talked about a free book that you could get online called 262 Crochet Patterns. Normally I don't print things out, but I do print this one out just because it's just easier to look through. Now, I chose number 4 for the pattern to do this little pink one. And of course, you know, you can look at it. Oh, and by the way, that one just has the charts. It doesn't have instructions. But you can see how I did just a thinner version. I didn't go all the way across as many times on that. But I like the way that turned out. Then, the other one was from this book that Yarn Addiction friends had all gotten and practiced a stitch here and there. And I started doing that event with them until I was like, okay, now I got this odd shaped square, what am I going to do with it? And I just quit. I didn't finish that event. So I grabbed the book and I looked through, and now I could go back and continue to do the events if I want to and make headbands out of them. And I used this number 429 for the instructions and the pattern on this teal one. Notice that this book gives you pattern and written instructions. Now I'm going to tell you something. The written instructions appear to be different from this chart. And when I looked at it, when I could, you know, my work came out exactly like the picture. So I think there may be an error, or else I'm just not understanding. But instead of going all the way across, I did do it wider at first, and I thought, my word, this is going to cover my entire head. But you can see the front post lines, the space, the little lacy thing in the middle, and then on each side you have the double crochets. And I do like this. I do like this a lot. Now this is Red Heart yarn. So Red Heart, Karen Simply Soft, that Easter yarn. This is called Afghan Yarn, but I got it from eBay from that Hirschner's that was very strange. And this is some Big Lots yarn that I got, just 100% acrylic. It's not the baby yarn, but it was a very lighter yarn, sport weight, I would say, for this. Which brings me to another issue. Now, I don't know if I ever told you, but I have a certification in lifestyle and weight management. And one thing, I haven't been doing a lot of my seminars lately, but when I do seminars, one thing that I tell everybody to get is a food scale. And this one happens to be digital. Actually, this one happens to be a Biggest Loser food scale. But it works wonderfully, and it comes in both ounces and grams. You can set it to do either one. And I have used this thing for so much besides food. Postal things, and now yarn weight. If something tells me I need so many ounces of yarn and I have a partial skein, I'll plop it on my scale and figure out if I'm anywhere in the right ballpark. So I thought, you know, I have a bunch of end, you know, little bits and pieces here that I could certainly turn into headbands. Some of these that are not as wide, or even some of them that I have a lot of leftover half skeins and stuff like that. So I was trying to get an idea of how much yarn I would need for each of these things, and I thought you might like to know that too. So let's go inside and I'll show you if you're interested. Okay, the way my scale works is you turn it on first and it zeroes out. That way, if you want to put a bowl and then measure how much, you know, food you're going to put inside the bowl, you would put the bowl on first, then turn it on, and it would not factor in the weight of the bowl. So that's pretty handy dandy. So let's look at this first. How much cotton yarn would I need to make this thing? 0.7. I don't know if you can see the outcome, but it's 0.7. So it's a little over half an ounce of cotton yarn is what that one is. This thing, that yarn is from Michaels. What's that brand that they have? Impeccable. And so for a thin impeccable, it's 0.6, which is just a touch over a 1/2 ounce. For a wide red heart, it's 0.8. So we're creeping up here on a whole ounce for that. So Karen's Simply Soft. Now I made this up with a, I think I used a G hook on this, so it is kind of dense. That's 1.4. I mean, I can really feel it in my hand that that one was considerably heavier. So Karen's Simply Soft would be about 1.5 ounces. And again, if you are from somewhere else that uses the gram system, the metric, you can change it on most all food scales. All right, now this is this very thin yarn. It's called Afghan Yarn by that Hirschner's, 0.7. Note that it's wide, but it's very light, you know, for that. So 0.7. And then again, the thin yarn, 0.5, so a 1/2 ounce. But I thought that was a pretty handy thing to keep up with, so you can remember how much yarn did it take, you know, because I'm certainly not measuring it out by length. Alright, I want to point out something else I was practicing with. Do you see right here, that's big space on the end here where my chain 3 turning chains are? Well, I learned a pretty neat tip, and you can see it gets better down here. It's not quite as loosey-goosey and I don't know, it's just kind of uneven, and then as we go along over here, it gets straighter and more even. Less space here. I learned a tip that eliminates that chain 3 turning chain. It's definitely something that you need to practice, but I'm going to include the video because there's no sense in my demonstrating it for you when you can see the actual originator. So that about wraps that up. I'm fixing to go get a cup of coffee, sit out here, prop my feet up, watch Bentley run and chase ducks in the water because I'm at home alone. It's so peaceful. So I will get to crocheting another headband